Welcome to Status Quo. On this episode of Status Quo, John went to WNYC land and disappeared. Completely left the country. We have no idea where he is now. Well, I guess that's what WNYC does to you. And welcome to ERN Podcast.
Yeah, welcome to the ERN Podcast, everyone. This is supposed to be a video episode, but we're having issues behind the scenes, so we're just going to make it audio. I promised it to a few people in GWES, but not anymore.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem.
Fuck that. So we got a fleet of people here today. We got Gabe, Anna, Marley, myself, and then we revived someone from the fucking depth of the dead people in the EAS community, Isaiah Schindler.
Again, I don't really need an introduction, as Cam has already introduced me, but I am one of the original founders of GWES, and also a founder of IDXG. Oh God! you're making me.
You mean the International Weather and EAS Aficionados?
2016,
yes,
the Facebook group?
Yeah. But yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh man, those are some repressed.
Yeah,
I swear.
It's great to have you back, Isaiah. We have you've taken a hiatus for 2.5 years?
Well, I mean, I'm not really in the community, which I mean that's okay. I mean, I'm choosing to focus more so on my own life and my own mental health as well. So yeah,
he shit talked to the entire EAS community in 4 simple words: focusing on my life.
I swear that wasn't intentional, but here we go.
I don't know. I think it was perfect the way it was.
Get oofed.
So yeah, we got some good things to talk about today. I found some documents at my new station.
Juicy documents.
Let's just say, just for like a teaser for what's coming up in this archive.org worthy, and let's just say this is information that the EAS community did not even know existed.
Archive.org worthy documents.
And we verified a couple things as well.
Yeah. There are things that even us, like, I wouldn't say that we're like the best in the community, but we're some of the most knowledgeable.
And some of these things we had no idea even existed until now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there were a lot of people that are going to be watching this like, face slapping themselves like, I knew this already.
We already knew this, but now the whole community as a whole will know.
It's a huge light bulb. Yeah, it's a huge light bulb for us. So now everybody is aware and we can confirm things. So. Oh,
yeah. So I'm excited to get into that stuff because we've been excited for this since we found those documents. It had to have been what was it? Was it Sunday or?
Yeah, it was the day we uploaded the last episode of the podcast. I think you had to go into the office and we found some.
Yeah, it originally started off with me, Anna, and Gabe in a Discord call looking for the station's old NDEC,
which turned out to be a TFT, by the way.
Yeah, my station used to use a TFT. Could not find it, unfortunately. We confirmed though it was a 6-monitor TV edition. So one of the, again, it said to me before, it was one of the most beefed out models that you could get, or if not the most beefed out you could get. So yeah, that's exciting. So we found all those documents. We'll share more about that coming up in this episode. And then DASDEC-III information. We'll get into that later, of course, as always. But so Gabe, is there anything you want to touch on first, or what do you want to talk about?
Yeah. So, I just wanted to, on this special episode of the EAS History Podcast, as opposed to the ERN Podcast.
Pretty much.
Basically, what we found. So basically, while we were sitting on the Discord call, we found an old rusty binder that was sitting underneath the master control desk.
Well, it was above, but it was covered under probably 2 inches of dust.
Yeah. We found that, and we found a bunch of really cool stuff.
Of course, most of it is scanned and now digitalized.
Yep.
Because this isn't even a case of just holding on to the documents just for future reference. This is holding on to the documents for history.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are historical records.
These are historical records where we are, instead of EAS history, this is finding EAS history and making it part of EAS history.
Yeah. So we found plenty. So we found a bunch of old handbooks
Oh,
We found some documentation.
Surprisingly, they're all the TV specific handbooks too. I didn't know they had specific versions of it.
Yes, they did. Actually, they also have cable TV handbooks.
Well, I'll have to try to find one of those.
Yep. Yeah, they have the cable. They have the cable. There's a copy of the 2007 cable TV handbook somewhere on Google.
Of course,
you just have to use some Google food to find it.
Yeah, but when we were looking up this stuff on Google, it's nowhere. Like the documents we found, they're nowhere.
So we scanned in 3 handbooks. So we scanned in the 1997 EAS TV handbook, which is the original March 1997 one, the 2001 EAS handbook, and the 2007 TV handbook. By the way, all of these are TV related.
Yeah, of course, because it's a TV station.
And these were the handbooks that contained the operating instructions and that kind of stuff.
Especially
did you ever get a
EAN and stuff at the time?
Yeah. Did you ever get a scan of the EBS book?
The EBS book, I need a flatbed scanner for, and I don't have one of those.
Okay. Hey, well,
I mean,
what I was
could
going to
try
ask,
shoving it into my printer, but it's more of a concern of, am I going to destroy this book by doing that?
Yeah, and whenever you get a chance, you should. Oh, go ahead.
So what you should do is you should ask if you could keep those handbooks.
Mhm.
Send it over my way. I have access to one.
I mean, I have access to one too. It's just at my workplace.
Or alternatively, you could. Your public library might also have an overhead scanner as well. It's probably worth trying as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I'll look into it.
Whenever you get a chance, maybe scan that shiny red thing.
We'll get into that. Yeah, we'll get into that. Do you guys actually want to touch on that first?
I was gonna get started on the 1997 handbook.
Nice.
Which is how we discovered it. So,
back to March 1997.
Year 1
this
of
handbook
EAS.
came out. This is year 1, month 3. You got to remember the EAS. The EAS was officially started on the 1st of January of 1997. So.
However, there was one thing that we were not aware of. The EBS had not been discontinued yet. Technically, they weren't allowed to take their equipment down.
So,
yeah, we'll get into that. But Gabe, what do you want to start off with it?
Yeah, so for a period of time after the implementation of the EAS as a contingency measure, and not even just that, but it's also just as something that they carried over from the EBS. The EAS for EANs had authenticator codes, similar to how Conelrad, the EANS, and the EBS did their.
Oh, speaking of EANS, multiple people came to Gabe after our the episode. I don't remember if it was our last one or 2 episodes ago, but there was it was
the first episode of the EAS.
Yeah, we touched on the Emergency Action Notification Network, and people came to Gabe telling him that he was full of bullshit and that it didn't exist. Well, let me tell you, I confirm the existence of that network.
There is documentation within that KECI handbook that references the EANS because KECI was affiliated with the national primary station.
Yep.
And there was documentation regarding that national primary station in there.
Yep.
But that's besides the point. So I just wanted to touch on the 1997 TV handbook. I'm just going to skim through it here, and we can take it. All of us that are in the stuff will get to take a nice look at it. So
yeah, and for those who are listening, you can I will post this on my website. You can go to erncrtv.com/podcast, and I'll have them there for viewing.
Yep. And then I'm also sure at some point we'll be posting these on archive.org for archival purposes. So yeah. So the 2007 TV handbook, first thing that we notice is that there's a little cutout for the EAS Authenticator envelope. So on page 2 of the EBS and the 1997 EAS handbook, there was a spot where your authenticator code list got put. In fact, at the station, they still had two of them. One of them was sealed.
Mm-hmm.
It was still sealed.
So I have the two. Well, they weren't more red; they were more pinkish envelopes, and so the EAS authenticator list that I have is January through December of 97 and of 98. And on the front of that envelope, it shows do not open unless needed to authenticate actual emergency messages. And in terms of emergency messages, it's for EAN only. So, of course, you'll still have your National Weather Service alerts. You don't have to verify those with anything. This is for national activation only. And so it says, so let me run through like what the instructions are on this authenticator envelope here. So, of course, number 1, do not open unless needed. 2, so you'll note the authentication words received by your NDEC. So as an example, like Alpha Golf, because it's phonetic. You'll open the red envelope, proceed down the column of the current month to the appropriate day noted in the message, and compare the words. And if they matched, you have an authentic message. But there was also a list of test words, because the tests, of course, were random. And yeah, so like, let's say like January of 97, the activation code was Charlie Kilo, and that was for a test activation only. But if none of the words matched on the inside of the envelope or the test, it's not a valid alert, you can disregard it. But if it matched the test, you have to relay it because, of course, it's a test. But if it matched one inside the envelope, that's when you know that you are in a fucked situation here.
So back then, they actually had the choice on their NDEC to relay an EAN. Was that a thing?
No.
So then, how did that even work?
It depends on. Authentic? Well, there's like in this handbook, there's different options for manual operation, automatic. If it's automatic operation, you disregard everything with the red envelope. But if you're manual operation, then you have to go through the authentication list.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Actually, you still have to go to the authentication list if your station is one of the stations that has to do that. Mm-hmm. You still have to authenticate a valid EAN message,
especially for PEPs.
Especially for PEPs.
Of course, yeah.
But if the message didn't turn out to be valid, you can just abort the alert.
Yep.
Abort the alert and just straight up shut off your NDEC.
Yeah. So what I was saying is, so of course, if it doesn't match, it's not a valid alert. If it matches the test, it's a test. And if it matches the paper inside, then you have an actual EAN. That's what I was saying. Then you're in a fucked situation because which is weird to me because
chances are that paper will soon disintegrate.
This one envelope, but it was also open, so it makes me wonder if there was a false activation somewhere. Not 100% sure. We'd have to dig deeper into it, but yeah, red envelope.
But yeah,
not something you hear every day. Nothing. It's something we didn't even know about. We knew about it for EBS, of course, but not EAS.
Yeah, and that got nullified a little while after, but this was in the very beginning.
But yeah, basically, what I have pulled up here is I'm going to read through the EAN test, or not the EAN activation script.
Yeah, and this is what would include your authenticator words here.
Yep, and I'm going to turn up my volume to simulate the actual radio stuff. So. Apologies for those who have ears.
This is an emergency action notification requested by the White House. The authenticator words for this notification are Kilo, Charlie. All broadcast stations will follow national activation procedures in the EAS operating handbook for a national level emergency. The President of the United States or his representative will shortly deliver a message over the emergency alert system. The authenticator words are Kilo, Charlie.
Of course, Kilo Charlie could be replaced with, of course, any of the normal words. And your authenticator words would change over 12:01 a.m. Eastern time. So you have a different set of, because you have two sets of words for the day. You have your activation and you also have your termination. So you have to do two sets of authentication, one for the activation and one for the termination. So you can't have like an accidental termination of a national alert.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so for TVs, So for TV stations, most of the time it's just going to be completely automatic.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it isn't. But if it isn't automatic, follow the authentication procedures. If no match is found, take no further action to transmit a message. If it matches, cease all programming and transmit the following announcement.
We interrupt our programming. This is a national emergency. Important instructions will follow.
Then do the transmit the headers and start your CGEM
And your attention signal.
and the attention signal. And then you get to read some nice high quality. You get to read some nice high quality standby script on page 7 while you wait for a message.
Which is it's the same one that everyone knows, but if you want to, do you want to read it out just so people that haven't heard of it?
Sure. By the way, this is the same one that you'll hear on every mock ever, and I'm going to be reading the one that's for state relay or primary stations because why not?
It is a little bit different, not by a ton, but it's a little different.
All right. This is an emergency action notification. All broadcast stations and cable systems shall transmit this emergency action notification message. This station has interrupted its regular programming at the request of the White House to participate in the emergency alert system. During this emergency, most stations will remain on the air, providing news and information to the public in assigned areas. This is KECI. We will continue to serve the Missoula area. If you are not in this area, you should tune to stations providing news and information for your local area. You are listening to the emergency alert system serving the Missoula area. Do not use your telephone. Telephone lines should be kept open for emergency use. The emergency alert system has been activated to keep you informed. We will also be serving as a message distribution and relay source to other broadcast stations.
So yeah, that's what you would hear if there was an EA. This is what you would hear between the time your attention signal is done and you have a representative of the president or the president speaking. So this would just be on loop until then. Actually, to be fair, once an EAN goes out in the procedures at this time, all broadcast was seized and you just have that message. You could have it going for days.
Do you think that?
Correct.
Do you think that that you would be allowed to use a tape recorder for this?
The time limit was,
yeah.
I think, yeah, you could have it going for days, but I think the policy was within 10 minutes.
Well,
with 10 minutes.
What,
so 10 to
what I'm
15
saying is,
minutes
like, I remember seeing, like,
issuance.
after the president, like, it's still that loop, if I remember correctly. So, like, you would get the president on air, and then you just be waiting and waiting with that same announcement rolling while you're waiting for another message.
For those of you doing EAS mocks, take note. A couple of the EAN scenarios from Shelter 345 is pretty accurate in this scenario.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, you just monitor. You monitor for stuff, and then what you do is that when you're getting messages in, there's a priority of how the messages should be distributed
based on
priority 1. Yeah, priority 1, presidential messages, carry that shit live, right? Second one is actually your local area.
Mm-hmm.
So, like very local area specific messages. So, like, for example, if we are getting attacked by nukes, it would basically be there are fallout shelters in this area for residents in this city.
or in this neighborhood.
Mm. Yeah. Priority 3 is statewide messages. So saying, this state is a target of nuclear weapons. This is how you survive nuclear blast. That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then fourth one is National Information Center messages.
Mm-hmm.
Which have actually the National Information Center ones have their own event code.
Yeah, and it actually suggests on here that you record lower priority messages for transmission at your earliest opportunity. So, like, I guess that would be useful if, your presidential message is going, there's a state message coming in. Then you could wait for your local area while the state one's recording, so then you can fill the gap.
And then there's another standby script as well.
Basically,
a little bit shorter.
Yeah, basically the same thing.
We interrupt our programming at the request of the White House. This is the emergency alert system. All normal programming has been discontinued during this emergency. This is KACI. This station will continue furnishing news and official information and instructions for the Missoula area. If you are not in the Missoula area, you should tune to stations providing news and information for your area. It is important that you listen carefully to announcements from the station in your local area.
Yeah, and this is the one, actually, I got the other one. It's not that first script that Gabe read out, but it's this one that would repeat from the time that your presidential message is done until there's more. So there's absolutely no normal operations until you get your termination message.
And then you have the best one.
Yeah, this is the one for
This-
non-participating stations, correct?
Yep, correct. So back then, there were some stations who were like, oh, no, I don't want the government to take over my station. But then, it turns out they do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So for non-participating stations, they are required by FCC guidelines to go off the air in the event of a national emergency. They're like, cut it, screw it, don't care anymore. So basically, and I'll read the announcement. This is the emergency, sorry. This is an emergency action notification. The station has interrupted its regular programming at the request of the White House to participate in the emergency alert system. During this emergency, most stations will remain on the air providing news and information to the public in assigned areas. This is KISW. We will be discontinuing programming. You should now tune to stations providing news and information for your local area. This station will be discontinuing programming. Do not use your telephone. The telephone line should be kept open for emergency use. The emergency alert system has been activated to keep you informed.
And if I remember
Then you
correctly,
repeat-
this after
then
you
you
read
repeat
that
that once.
message, and then you
repeat.
basically turn off your transmitter, correct?
Repeat it once, turn it off.
Yep. After that, you're done. No transmitting. It's a
Sign off. Remove the carrier from air.
yep. Remove the carrier. So basically, turn off your transmitter. You're done. You're done until the termination's on.
FedEx to stop. Tell FedEx to stop delivering. The carrier must be removed.
Oh my god.
Basically, it's pretty much just the FCC's way of punishing people who didn't want to who didn't want to participate.
Well, I wouldn't even say that. I guess
Nah,
at
I'm
the time,
totally
with
joking,
them,
but
to be
that's
honest.
hilarious.
I believe at the time NDEX were, since they were first gen equipment, they were still like price wise still a bit for stations. So I could see like, oh, this station's already doing this area. Okay, we'll not participate so that we don't have to worry about it. And then
And they
everyone can
couldn't
just rely
sell
on
off
that
their
station.
EBS equipment yet to afford an EAS encoder because you were technically required to keep having it.
Yep, that is correct.
And then nuclear blast occurs. Everything's fucked.
Or
There's nothing more
whatever
for the
national
government to
emergency
say.
there is.
Yeah, exactly.
Whenever it ends, you'll see emergency action termination come in, and the message will say, "This concludes operations under the emergency alert system. All broadcast stations may now resume normal programming operations."
Or you don't hear that because the nuke hit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
In this circumstance,
This-
your red handbook would just be pretty much disintegrated. So there's no need to verify an EAT.
Oh crap, I can't verify. This nuke destroyed my red envelope.
Yeah.
I guess I'm stuck on the emergency alert system.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the rest of the handbook basically goes into state. Apparently, you were like at the time you were supposed to have an announcement for state or local emergencies. So basically, it would be we interrupt.
But
this
nobody
program.
followed
Yeah,
that
no
because
one
everybody
follows
ran
it.
in automatic mode.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody ran in automatic mode.
Which I guess
there
in
was a
modern days,
lot
especially.
of pre and post roll. We were actually
guess at
we were
the-
talking. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say in modern days it's a lot easier, especially for like DASDECs. You record it, save it as a wave, push it to your DASDEC, and it does it on its own. That's what I do on my ERN station. Whenever there's a test alert, it'll read out like the following is a test, do it, and then it'll be done. But
Yeah,
apparently
we were actually talking
for
about
this stuff, it'll say like you're supposed to say we interrupt our programming based on a local emergency.
Yeah, we were actually talking about how Anna suggested that she wanted to make a station completely compliant to this handbook. And we were joking about how she would have to pretty much quit her day job in order to do all the pre and post roll manually because it would be a ridiculous amount.
I guess early days of EAS, I guess you could in theory do pre and post roll all automatic. You just have to use a lot of GPI for those index that supported it.
Oh, yeah.
Because then you can send
and
it
the
to
TFT
like
was not one of them because that thing was popular or sort of popular at least. And you probably wouldn't be able to do it.
At the time, it was definitely
manually.
TFT and Sage.
Oh, yeah.
The Burke? What the hell is that? They're all broken. They all corrupted their own firmware.
You'd be lucky to get anything out of that thing.
Or you get a Burke that will just not work at all.
Or worse,
just
the Burke turns into the national emergency.
Yeah,
the Burke turns into the
emergency.
Yeah, it just turns into a nuke.
Yeah. We interrupt our programming because of a Burke EAS 1.
No, 32.
We interrupt our programming because of a Burke gone.
Because of Burke gone wrong. FBI called
SDP
gone
Burke.
wrong.
Gone sexual.
Gone sexual Burke.
Gone sexual. F police was called. We got swatted. Oh no.
Hey, Cam.
Yeah, so do you want to... Yeah, what were you saying?
I need to, whenever I get access to my Burke, I need to record that. For reference,
Yep.
if the Burke destroys its own ROM, it doesn't have call sign or locations or what time zone, so it just blinks them. So if you try and play headers, they sound cursed.
They're just all the same
Can
thing.
confirm. Oh, it sounds worse than that.
You have to whenever you go down there, you have to record it. We'll put it on the pod.
Somewhere I need to find it. I think it's on my Linux machine. I have an emulated recording that sounds pretty damn exact near what it is, because actually I decoded it to the point where I found out exactly the bytes it was encoding for those empty spaces, and then told my program that was generating the headers to generate them. So it generated
this episode of the ERN podcast is sponsored by EAS Gen.
Sponsored by
Proceeds for EAS Gen will help fund podcasts like
you know,
us.
we forgot. This episode of the ERN podcast is sponsored by WACN Technologies.
You bet your ass it is.
All right.
So yeah,
now-
anyways, we want to talk about 01?
Yeah. So, imagine it. It's 2001.
Oh, God.
9/11 happens. Isaiah was born a couple years before, and I was nearly born. And then everybody else, aka Cam, Anna, and Marley, weren't even conceived yet.
No, I would have.
So let's go.
No, I wouldn't have been.
No, you. So yeah. Anyways,
Most of the EAS community was born 12 years later.
yeah. Got 12 years on your ass. Anyways, so at this point, the authenticator codes were removed.
Sad.
So there were no more authenticator codes, and everything is peachy. Or was it? Basically, most of the stuff actually kind of remained the same between 90, 97, and 01. Some of the scripts were changed to get rid of certain information, like the whole authenticator code checks and that kind of thing. So basically, most of the mocks are kind of based off of this one in the 07.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yo, we should make an ERN 1997 mock using a TFT. We'll be the only ones to get it right.
lol. That'd be hilarious.
And there goes Cam's camera.
Yup.
For those of you watching, Cam's camera just fell down behind his monitor.
Well, we're not recording video, so
Yeah, we're not recording video, sadly.
yeah.
But
Okay,
still.
so I'm off topic. So I am using continuity camera on the latest betas of macOS and iOS. and they haven't released the official mount yet for continuity camera. So I used literally duck branded poster putty, and I just shoved my phone on my monitor, and it just fell off.
Hey, Cam, you remember? Hey, Cam,
Yeah.
you remember how I told you that, hey, I don't think that's going to work that well. It's going to fall off.
Well,
And you said, no,
you also said
that's
the same
not
thing about me
possible.
mounting my ERN phone to the wall using command strips. I took my chances.
Just give it time. It will fall off eventually.
It'll fall off when Missoula gets nuked.
That's fair.
Trust me, it will fall. Maybe not in your lifetime, but it will.
Missoula will
Eventually.
fall, the new video game.
Missoula has fallen. The new movie from the same people who did Olympus has fallen, and London has fallen, and
Everything
What was
has
the other
fallen. I fell down my stairs.
the Blank Has Fallen series.
Oh, jeez. Anyways,
Your
so
grandmother has fallen and she can't get up.
Go get yourself some Life Alert.
yeah, so where were we here?
Help, I've fallen turning into an EAS fan.
Well, yeah, we were talking about
Are we just not going to acknowledge what Anna said there?
nope. Anyways, so the 2001 handbook is pretty similar to the 97. It just removes the authenticator code checks.
Mhm.
There's
Because
nothing
everything
that
at this
really
time was
stands
automatic.
out. Yep. Nothing really stands out.
Yo,
Besides,
we were
you know,
post
the fact that-
2000. All of us had this fancy new technology. We didn't need
All of us had these
authenticator
fancy
codes.
Best Buy turn off your computer before.
Y2K.
turn off your Sage
Y2K.
EASN deck before
Y2K.
January 1st, 2000.
That moment when your Sage says 010100 on your freaking camera.
Yeah, so is there anything really that notable in 2001 or
Not really.
in the 2001 handbook? I do not mean in the year 2001 because we all know what happened that year.
The EAS wasn't used.
Yeah, which actually at the time was a pretty controversial choice.
Yeah, the reason why they didn't do it during
Because
during,
news already covered it so fast.
Oh, for those of you who don't know, on September 11, 2001, some planes got hijacked and they rammed them into a building.
Multiple buildings.
Multiple buildings.
3 separate buildings.
And we're definitely not here
Yep.
to dig on that
And a
situation.
field, because fuck that field, I guess.
we're not here to bring down the fact that it all happened. We're not Alex Jones. So yeah, respect
We're not
everyone.
gonna-
Everyone's
we're
lives
not
were
gonna
lost here. We're just
Yeah.
digging on the government for not using EAS, but it makes sense why.
We're not going
Yeah,
to
it's 'cause-
start screaming at people about gay frogs. Trust us. We like the gay frogs.
Anyways, the EAS wasn't used because I don't know about you, but an EAN would have been warranted for 9/11.
I don't
Yeah.
actually think so. I think at most it should have been like a civil danger warning. Because it wasn't a national
I
scale
think it would have
event.
been.
It was only a
It was
regional
actually, though, because
It was. It crossed state boundaries.
yeah,
That's
because
fair.
It crossed state boundaries.
They hit the towers, they hit the Pentagon, and then they also the one that hit the field was rumored to be going to the White House. So
That's
therefore,
fair.
it would have impacted several states. And once you start getting several states attacked,
Once
like
you start
the
crossing state
towers-
boundaries, it crosses into emergency action
Yeah.
notification territory.
Here's the thing: once the towers got hit, the Pentagon hit, and they were aiming for the White House. You don't know if they're going to keep it up. You don't know what's going to happen next. That is the exact reason why it should have been an EAN, but the
Mhm.
news was already covering it. So
Yeah, the news covered it
The
so
news was
fast, and
already covering
it
it.
was in the middle of the morning news cycle. And working in news, you have cycles during your day. You have your morning news, which at the time was all live across the nation.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have live coverage, it is so easy just to switch to something else. So
Actually, funnily enough, during the 2011 tests, during the 2011 test, they were announcing the test on, I believe it was CNN, and the person on CNN was doing like the pre-roll for the 2011 test, saying that it was going to happen, and then they freaking dug on the government for not using it on 9/11.
yeah. Even though 2011 was probably
used by state, it was probably used.
Ever.
It was probably used by state and local municipalities, maybe for like the Pentagon one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I know it wasn't used in New York.
It wasn't used in New York, and it wasn't used on a national scale.
Yeah.
But it could have still, even though it wasn't used, it still could have warranted, at least on a local level, it could have warranted civil danger warnings.
Yeah.
And I think that was a major missed opportunity.
That would have. As sad as it may, or as fucked up as this may have sounded, the issues relating to the 2011 EAN test would have been revealed much earlier if the EAN was used on 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would have given them the opportunity to make it more resilient.
Yep, and it would have had plenty of time.
And come if the 2011 test still happened, it would probably have had near 100% success rate.
Do we know what the success rate was on the last NPT?
wasn't it like
the National Periodic?
I think it was
yeah.
80.
Yeah, it was like an 80%
Which
success
honestly,
rate.
like in my eyes, I would see 75%
it was
as a
daisy
pass.
chain.
Yeah, it was.
Because it's daisy chain in that one.
Yeah, and then the one before it was a cap, right?
Nope. It was also Daisy Chain.
No, it was,
I thought there was a cap NPT at some point.
There was.
They're supposed to switch back and forth between cap, but the 1 year that was supposed to be cap that they skipped was 2020. But
and now
since
we're
they
just on a
skipped
roll
it,
of skipping.
yeah, since they skipped it, they skipped the cap one. So then they went Daisy Chain in 2021, and then they're skipping it
Daisy chain
again
with the WIA test.
So they're skipping it again in 2022, and I don't know if that means it's going to be Daisy Chain or iPause in 2023.
If they're going
Probably
to
Daisy
follow the same philosophy on the switching, I would say it's most likely going to be Daisy Chain if they don't skip it.
So we're going to have gone 2 years without iPause testing, which will be sad because I haven't seen it go over yet, and I want to get the freaking XML for that because that'll be cool.
Didn't we grab the XML for the WIA feed?
Yeah, but it was a weekly, so it wasn't as fun because you can just get those all the time.
Fun fact. So for the 28, they started doing NPTs in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe 2016 was cap.
Mm-hmm.
17 was Daisy Chain. 2018 was cap with the presidential alert WIA test.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, the president is going to send me a text message.
When people realized that they could do that, they were like, "Oh shit, Trump can send me text messages." Oh,
Which is the thing, though, is because it's just a big misunderstanding, or either that, or it's just straight up ignorance. Because that's straight up not what WIA is used for, and the fact that people made such a big deal out of it in that sense is honestly kind of ridiculous.
Welcome to politics.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to politics, and welcome to the ignorance in the United States. It's an alerting system. It literally says it on your phone. But anyways, let's get out of the politics stuff. Is there anything of note in the 07 handbook?
There's nothing really of note in the 07.
A lot of the same thing.
They changed their color palette.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, they changed their color. They redesigned it, but the text is still exactly the fucking same.
It's all made in PowerPoint. Tell me I'm wrong.
Hey,
Probably is.
What was that?
Hey,
Gabe?
at least they were updating it because, whenever you look at Arkansas, they made their frickin' plan in 1997 and didn't update it till 2021.
Yeah, Montana's on that track right now. Ours hasn't been updated since 16.
Yeah, but no, well, yours at least got updated in 16. It's still, do you have cap in there? You probably
No.
do. No reference of cap?
Last I checked, that there is no iPause or cap mentions in our handbook. I could be 100% wrong.
Well,
I'll have to check on
okay.
it, but I'll get back to you on that. But
But-
last time if I'm going off with what my mind is telling me, no, there is no cap on it.
But here's the thing. Arkansas legitimately had their 1997 handbook be the handbook all the way up till 2021 whenever their redesign, their remake of their handbook is all of the exact same text, but just in a new fancier format. Like they just remade
Modern
the PDF.
format.
It is word for word exactly the same, except for some stations that actually went off the air for local areas have just been switched to other stations that are actually on the air, or call signs have been updated. But other than that, the plan is still the exact same fucking 1997 plan and has not been updated. There's no reference of cap even existing. There's no reference of the internet existing in that plan.
Yeah. Our states are very daisy chain.
It's so funny.
But yeah, so is there much else you want to touch on in terms of the handbooks, Gabe, or
Not really. There's really nothing of note.
nothing
We
of
can-
note
So yeah,
yet?
Nothing in the handbook.
nothing of note that we've seen. I have a feeling that the EBS one is going to be really a lot of fun.
And the EBS ones we'll have to get into another episode because I haven't scanned them in because I'm a lazy fuck and don't have a flatbed scanner.
Go to a library.
Yeah. Well, even if I do, I'm not going to put it in this episode. So.
Yeah.
But
Quick, go now! Run!
I guess I could give like a quick synopsis of what we found in it, or in the rest of the binder entirely. Montana used to have a state relay network. That was something we didn't know. KTVH used to be the entry point for that network, which is a MTN station, which is the station group I used to work for. So it's kind of cool to see something close, but it's also probably because it's in Helena, the capital. So EANS, there's references to that. And those documents were dated, what, like 63?
Yep.
Those were old. But, yeah, other than that, the EBS stuff, a lot of just, it has the old EBS logo. If you want to look it up, you can look up EBS checklist book. So.
For the next 60 seconds, this station
For the
will
next 60
conduct
seconds, this station will conduct
a
a
test.
test.
of the emergency broadcast system.
Yeah.
If I ever get an EBS, like a TFT EBS box, I'm totally like getting freaking relays and stuff hooked into a Raspberry Pi, that its sole existence is if it realizes that it has received something, it will play the freaking script.
Nice. So automating a non-automated system.
I can also what I can do is have it automatically generate weekly tests.
Nice.
Like have a Raspberry Pi that just sits there like if what do we know what day of the week the weekly tests were sent on?
I don't myself.
It might be in the handbook.
For EAS or EBS.
EBS.
I'll have to check.
Okay.
Just but we'll
automate
get into
it,
all the. We'll do a deeper dive into the EAS or EBS stuff that we found in another episode, probably the next one.
Stand by, please.
But honestly, if
That's something we should do for fun.
what?
Is an EBS relay network.
Oh, jeez.
Yes.
Equipment that doesn't exist can
that
quickly
would be
warn you of emergencies.
You know what? When
You can do that with the NDEC.
when we're no. When we're getting off of here, you know what I should do? Whenever we
write the
whenever
NDEC to do EBS.
make a new one, make an EBS deck.
Ooh.
Because I haven't done that. In fact, nobody's done that yet. We've all just been focused
Just
on
have to do
EAS
silence
because it
detection.
gives you all the information and it's easy to make up front.
Mm-hmm. That would be.
So yeah,
That-
WACN Technologies is confirmed to work on an EBS deck.
Not confirmed.
And then
Speculated.
Fuck off. You okay?
It's a lab. It's an ERN. It's an ERN lab incubation project.
Yeah, it's gonna incubate and then incubate.
It's
some
going
more,
to
and then
incubate till we forget about it, and then it's just going to be
Someone-
speculation.
Someone's gonna message us through our podcast suggestion form, like, "What happened to the EBS deck?" It's like, "Oh shit, yeah, we did do that." Also, speaking of suggestions and such, you can go to my website, erncrtv.com/podcast, and you can submit ideas for the ERN podcast on there. So fill out the form, go ahead and hit submit, and we'll take a look at it. Little small plug.
Hey, Cam, idea for the podcast. You should upload all the audio stuff with just like the logo or something to the new YouTube channel.
Oh, not bad. I have, you know what's funny is I just actually put a bunch of our audios on Deep Glacier. So I have to request it.
Oh, here's another thing. If you were to do that, whenever we have a new podcast, you can do it as a premiere. That would be nice.
Or you can listen to some of our ERN stations who play it every day.
Look at you flexing that you play the podcast.
Yeah, you can go to
guys, I have something
erncrtv.com and listen to the podcast. No.
Hey, Cam, is your system
Hey,
automated?
guys.
Is mine automated? Yes, it is.
Okay, fair enough.
Hey guys, are you ready?
Yeah.
Silence in the call, please. Hello? Somebody's not muted.
It's Isaiah. There you go.
Thank you. This is a test. This station is conducting a test of the emergency broadcasting system. This is only a test.
Attention, hell. Oh, jeez.
Note that I did not edit this. This is a test of the emergency broadcast system. The broadcasters of your area, in voluntary cooperation with federal, state, and local authorities, have developed this system to keep you informed in the event of an emergency. If this had been an actual emergency, important information would have followed the attention tone that you just heard.
I just got an idea.
What's your idea?
This concludes the test of the emergency broadcasting system. All right, Anna, go ahead.
I can implement CAP into this frickin' EBS decoder. Because here's the
EBS
thing.
deck
They
cap.
sent the messages via radio teletype, which is essentially the same thing. It's
Just in a
CAP
different
without
format.
internet. We could implement a CAP server into this, and that's how it would receive messages.
And instead of
This is gonna
EAS
be
tones, you just
so
send an attention
curved.
tone.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, fuck the EAS community. You know what we're gonna be doing? We're gonna be doing the motherfucking EBS community.
We'll be the
Let's
only
go.
EBS community.
Yeah. Oof.
No little kids here.
Preemptively ban all the little kids.
Don't try it. We will know.
We have a database in the GWES for all the banned people, and most of them are young people. But anyway, so
Not that we have anything against young people.
it's just the
you know,
maturity level for the hobby that they're in. Because EAS is not a lot of. It's not a toy. It really isn't.
EBS though.
EBS
Talk to any
is just a
Ari
tone.
fan. Talk to any RE fan,
Yes.
though. It is a toy.
No, RE fans, Derpy Fire Alarm fans, or anyone of the sort, even though they're both the same thing. EAS is not a toy. This is meant for literally national warning in local warnings. It's not meant to be like, oh, EAS box go burr.
See-
I was telling my wife about the kids who were wanting to buy Index, and she was like, "Why are the kids wanting to buy Index?" And I'm like, "Ooga booga box go burr."
The box is all powerful and mighty.
Here,
The box's burr is almighty.
okay. Here is one thing that I've actually held this opinion for most of my existence in EAS communities in and out. First of all, I don't like mocks. It's putting the wrong image on EAS. It's basically promoting EAS as content. It isn't content. It's not supposed to be content. It is not supposed to be consumed. It is supposed to let you know of a warning in an emergency situation.
When your life is at danger, it is meant to tell you.
Yeah, I don't condone mocks. Don't get onto me for making the best EAS generation system in Python specifically for mocks. I don't use them for mocks, and I don't like when people use them for mocks, but people ask me to make it. So, this is more or less to developers who are actually building software index and, the occasional one of my friends who actually does mocks. I'm like, okay, I'm a developer. I understand. You would get enjoyment out of the software, so here it is. But I don't like mocks.
Your stuff is building software. Our stuff is, we do the same thing. We do it for fun. So it's more of instead of acting like for mocks, instead of making it seem like hyper realistic. I mean, just do it with caution.
We do it because we because we enjoy it. But we don't do it to desensitize the message.
Nope.
Also,
which is, for us especially, EAS is still not desensitized for us. We still listen to most alerts.
Honestly,
if I hear something go over my local stuff, I'll listen to it.
Yeah, honestly, in my opinion, with the way that I treat EBS, it has actually made me hypersensitive. In NERP, we had a term for this. We called it Eas Ptsd. Basically,
because all you needed to hear was the click.
Yeah, most kids, most kids in this community, they listen to these tones so often that they get desensitized to it. They're not looking out for them for oh, hey, there's a tornado warning on the way. I should take shelter. They're waiting for the only times that they actually hear these alerts and pay attention to them is whenever IEM bot goes ding ding and they're like, oh shit, I should pull out my camera and put it on my TV. Exactly. They don't actually care about the message. They just care about the amount of views that they can get off of it. Thanks, Ari. But basically,
I wouldn't pin that on Ari.
Yeah,
it's the EAS community as a whole.
Yeah,
I'd pin that on Cranford.
Okay, but still.
Thanks, Matthew.
For me, I used EAS to learn about it, learn as much as possible. I can tell you exactly how it works off the top of my head without ever having to reference any documents because I saw this. I used to hate the emergency alert system. Like, legitimately, my switch from hating it to loving it was in one day. Not even kidding.
Yeah.
And it was one video that I found that actually explained how the system worked. I don't remember who made it. There's a guy who had CTTY and slowed down a header, showed exactly the decoding, like it decoding in real time, and explained what each part of it is. Event code, time codes, FIPS codes. And I saw this and went, wait a second. These aren't just here to piss me off.
Cool.
Yeah. And then I went and I in the same day did hours. I think I researched EAS legitimately for 6 hours straight that day. I literally read from from start to end, the entire NWS documentation, I read from not from start to end. I still haven't read from start to end the entire of part 11 because that's just so much legal jargon that it just hurts my head. But
I've read part 11.
hooray! Yeah, I could do it. It's just I don't want to deal with legal jargon.
Yeah, and of course we're not
but-
here just to dog on the EAS community and tell everyone listening that, oh, you're stupid. No, that's not what we're doing at all. All we're trying to do is just kind of get our point across. That this isn't some game. This isn't just for content.
Yeah.
This isn't for just telling kids to fuck off.
Yeah.
This is us just being genuinely concerned about this community, and not in a bad way. I would say we're just looking out for people.
Okay. Whenever it comes to the EAS, here's my personal opinion of how people should take it. If you want to be in this hobby, don't be in this hobby for, I'm going to make my capture number as high as possible. That's not what you should do. You should learn how the system works. You should learn what you are looking at, what you care about. You shouldn't go, ooga booga, I can get Sage for $200 and make it go burr. No. First of all, if you don't need an end deck, don't get one. They are reserved for people who know what the fuck they're doing and actually need one. Like, I'll be honest, I don't need as many end decks as I do, but then again, I am one of the few people who actually takes these apart to find out how they tick.
Yeah, because you develop.
Me, Gabe, Cam, Evan, we like to take them apart to find out exactly how they work. And I'm now using my collection to build a database of knowledge on them. Like, I'm trying to build a database on different ROM versions and what they what the difference is, what hardware. So if your end deck isn't operating in this way, what you need to buy or replace or fix in them to make it work, operate properly. That is my goal with having. That's why I have so many, because I already know quite a bit on the Sages, but I'd like to learn more. Like, some people have power failures that I don't know what it is.
There's always something to learn.
Yeah, there's something to learn. I would like to reverse engineer the Sage to the point where I can point at a chip and tell you exactly what it does. I can't do that yet. Or I can kind of do that. I can tell you what does generalize what thing, but I want to be able to tell you exactly what this chip is, where you can get a replacement part, and what it does. Like that, that is my end goal. And not a lot of people in the EAS community are like that. And honestly, so for kids who are trying to get in the EAS community, don't immediately buy an end deck. That is a really bad way to do that.
Plus, if you're looking into getting into the EAS community, just start out small. Start out watching some of our videos. Like Anna does some great videos on how things work.
And they're not great. They're just they're
good moments that you can learn from them.
Yeah, I would like to make more. It's just that I'm really bad at making videos. So
let's do it under the ERN name. Let's do it.
Yeah, hell.
Something that I want to do at some point is do a technical, kind of not necessarily EAS history, but do a technical explanation on how cap works.
Mm-hmm.
On how the individual systems work.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way that I want to do is I just want to make a PowerPoint and do voiceover on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, Anna, I'd be 100% down to do videos like that under the ERN name. I'm sure all of our listeners would love to do that too. Just kind of a way to get connected into it.
So I would, in my goal for me being, I don't really think of myself as in the mainstream EAS community, but I want my name in the EAS community to be that person who gets people into it for the knowledge of how it works.
For what it is.
Yeah, for what it is, not a number. Because a lot of people are in the EAS community for, I have 3.5 billion captures. You don't have that.
Just wait till you meet ERN. We have so many captures, it doesn't matter.
Honestly, one of the things that disgust me the most are the kids who will come into this EAS community just for those captures and get angry whenever they don't get what they want. Like, whenever we're having a life-threatening situation and they're like, I didn't get that tornado emergency. How dare they not send it over this station?
Yeah, that's just
No,
it's not,
that's a
it doesn't
tornado
matter.
emergency. That's a tornado emergency. People's lives are at stake. This is not about your fucking number of captures. This is not about you. This has nothing to do with you. People's lives are at stake. That isn't funny. That isn't. No, just don't.
Yeah, it makes sense though. I mean, we're not in this hobby for the numbers. We're in this hobby because we enjoy it and because we love helping people. That's really what we do. We like to relay stuff because we know it could help someone. That's why I do it. That's why I'm in this network in the first place. Is who knows who could be listening to our stations.
Yeah. Honestly, if anybody wants to, like, if anybody is listening to this podcast and they're in here because of the numbers and they want to get out of that mindset, feel free. I bet most of people in this call, feel free to reach out. We will gladly educate you. Like, one of my favorite things to do is to educate.
And not in a bad way.
Yeah.
Not in the bad way. Like, it's more of a case
We're here to
of,
help.
Yeah.
We're here to help. Like, don't hesitate to reach out. It may take us a while to get back because a lot of us have lives.
Yeah.
That might be pushing it.
For example, I am a associate systems administrator at a local game developer.
Local might be pushing it, Gabe.
It is local.
It is a local gaming company. It's just a very, very, very well-known local gaming company.
They are very well known, but they are based out of. They're local, basically. Yeah, it may take me a while to get a response from me, but yeah.
Gabe, I would put local in quotation marks there.
I think all of us at some point.
It's in the Seattle area.
You've mentioned where you worked before. If you guys want to know where Gabe works, go to one of our previous episodes. Anyway. But yeah, no, I think all of us at some point were in the mindset of the numbers. Most of the EAS community was.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say everyone was because I know not everyone was. But if most of us were. Yeah. And once you get out of it, especially me, I was in that mindset too. Once you get out of it, it's so much more enjoyable. You're not stressed out 24/7 wondering when the next fucking alert's going to come in.
See, honestly, I have to thank the people who got me into this community because a lot of them really weren't. Like, they were, but they aren't. Like, for example, Nick. Nick is one of those guys who got me into this community, and he isn't really by the numbers. He used to be, but really isn't anymore. And he's one of the few people who helped me learn so much about this. In fact, I didn't know CAP existed until Nick came along and told me about it. And then I didn't learn a lot more until like Gabe and I started looking into it. I had one period where I wanted to get into the numbers. I never really did, but because like I said, I suck at making videos. I don't want to. That's why any of my captures, I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm sitting around. I'm not doing anything productive anyway. So might as well put my camera at the screen. Case in point, literally my YouTube channel is 90% shitpost.
And I haven't posted on mine in months. So
yeah, I haven't posted on mine in months too, but for some reason, my most watched video now is fucking Weather Channel related as opposed to EAS.
Yeah. Do.
Well, speaking of which, I should probably upload another one of those for the holes.
But yeah, so I think we can move out of.
Oh damn it! I just missed the LF2.
Like what? One of my best videos is literally just I decided to record the freaking federal signal system in Bentonville whenever I lived there, and like it has like 1,000 views, and I have no clue why. It is literally a Balfang going.
But yeah, so I think we can move off of this here.
I don't know, it's kind of cool though.
Yeah, we're not gonna get all. We're not mad at anyone in the EAS community. I will tell you, we'll put that out there right now. We're here to help. We might get annoyed. Everyone does. It's a human thing, but we're all here to help, and we're all here to help.
There's only one person I dislike in this community.
And they know.
And they know. And they hate me too. So, it's fine.
But anyway, so let's get over to one of the more exciting things here instead of us being all depresso here about the community.
Depresso expresso hagober.
So let's talk about DASDEC-III. So as we always do. So what I found out yesterday, actually, after looking on DASDEC's website for more information, is one, there's a security bulletin, or a security advisory rather, about the 2.x and 3.x software. Not something I expected to see, but it's more of like an update to their original security advisory. Basically saying that there's security issues in 2.x, 3.x. I'm pretty sure, wasn't it relating to the Apache server, Gabe?
I have a feeling it is.
Yeah. Because it has something to do with the
For those who don't know, DASDEC, before the 4.0 update came out, the DASDECs were running a version of Linux. Was running a version of Linux called Fedora. They're running Fedora, and it was running Fedora 10. And for context, the current release of Fedora is Fedora 36.
So old.
You know who we should talk to about this? We should show this to Ari. Because Ari's running...
We did.
Okay.
We did.
I'm guessing she's not going to...
We did.
Yeah, I'm guessing... Yeah, it's Ari.
That's the reason that Daz put it out.
That's the reason why the Daz died. But I brought it back.
Yeah, Ari's DASDEC is back. Brought to you by GabrielSMcMillan.me. Yeah, so...
Also known as check-out-my-cool.ob server.
So yeah, and then there was a couple other things I found on the DASDEC webpage. So under the DASDEC-III panel, if you guys want to check this out, there's an option now for the DASDEC-III Quick Start Guide. Little did I know that we would get so excited over a fucking Quick Start Guide. There's actually... the quick start guide for the DASDEC-III. If you go on their website and hit the DASDEC-III.
Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah,
there. If you scroll down,
it actually shows some 5.0 screenshots.
There's 5.0 screenshots, and it shows on here what the actual LCD does,
like the LEDs do.
So
it shows like all the LCD panel.
Yeah. So
stuff,
I guess I could go through like what the pages are. So the page one. There's total number of active alerts, a crawl of those alerts, and whether it was decoded, forwarded, originated, or cap. I'm assuming there's also an N for EASnet, like the DASDEC-II.
I like the audio thing. That's pretty cool.
And then
cap
page
1,
2 is
cap 2,
audio.
cap 3.
Shows you 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then there's another one that shows cap sources, something that you never fucking see on the DASDEC.
That's really fucking...
You have to go into the DASDEC to see it.
This is giving me ideas. Oh
yeah,
no, Daz! You just made a mistake.
There's a screen with the DASDEC's IP network information, and I found out that the yellow light only does one thing, and it's to show that there's a pending alert waiting forwarding. Well, granted, the light does say pending next to it, but you would think that on boot it would show something.
Wait, I didn't realize that this thing needs 2 sound blasters now.
Yep. Which me and Gabe noticed. So your primary line in jack is L1 and R1, right, Anna? And then there's a sound blaster card that shows L2 and R2. But then there's also a third one that says L3 and R3. So does the DASDEC support 6 monitors now? I guess we'll have to wait to find out. But that's something that I caught out of the corner of my eye out of that.
Well, certain versions of the DAS-II actually supported up to 6 monitors. Believe it or not. Yeah, it was some of their like super stupid high-end ones. I don't remember which ones. I think they supported up to 6. And then
I have a super stupid one.
I'm pretty sure I know for a fact that the DAS-EOCs did.
Which would make sense, of course.
I don't know though. I may be completely wrong.
Yeah, they even have on their quick start guide.
They have the wiring.
for the RJ45 ports.
Yeah, that's cool. Hold on.
So that's cool. You just make your own cables, and
Audio in ground.
which is
Okay,
pretty simple.
that isn't that bad. I the analog is a little bit annoying.
Funky, yeah.
Yeah, it's funky. It's time to get funky.
Yeah, and then there's a few screenshots from version 5. Actually, like honestly, from what we knew about it already, I don't mind it that much. It actually doesn't look, I mean, granted it's not like a full redesign, but it looks cleaner, I will admit.
I would have preferred a full redesign.
Yeah. Yeah, me as well.
Hey, just wait until we make our moduled software end deck where you can design your own web interface. And stop bugging me about it.
Oh, geez.
Hey, Gabe. We should do a video about that. The design ideas for that.
Get public comment.
Yeah. Get ideas. I want more ideas for that, but not a lot of people want to give me ideas, so I have want to like go like, yo, let's just make a YouTube video. Just be like, yo, give me ideas so I can steal them.
But yeah, and there's not much else on that DASDEC start guide that we didn't already know. Unless
okay, that's cool.
What'd you find?
That is really cool. Their new freaking email system is so much better. I can tell you that.
Ooh,
because you can create email users and then set up per user different things.
Interesting.
Yeah, like I see weekly report, monthly report, decoder, missed weekly test, missed monthly test.
That might
tap source online, offline.
That might have something to do with Halo.
No, that it is their it says in their new email system. You set up the email system normally, but then to actually send to users, you have to make an email user, which it says email address and name, and then it gives you a checkbox of all the things you can turn on and off for that user. And that is so much better because
I wish I could set up the email on the DAS2 to send an email upon decode on a specific monitor. That would be cool.
Yeah. But that is really nice. Here, Gabe, go to the bottom of the quick start guide. I think you'll agree that that is so much better. Because in the DAS2, if you wanted to do if you wanted to put in an email, you had to manually put in the email for every single thing you wanted to send an email to. And you could either have on or off. And it was so annoying. Because the DAS would complain if you had an option on, but no emails in the thing. And then this gives you way more fine control.
Speaking of figuring things out with the DAS, I reached out to Digital Alert Systems again yesterday, so we're waiting on a reply from that. But it sounds like Digital Alert Systems is still considering allowing ERN to have a demo unit for review. So stay tuned for that.
Nice.
That'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, is there much else that you guys are seeing about the DAS-III that you guys want to talk about, or?
No.
Well, I think that this might be a good place to end the episode, unless you guys have anything else you guys want to talk about.
Hey, I can confirm that the DAS-III does HDMI alert audio output. So that's funny. Yo, I'm gonna plug in my monitor and have the audio come through my monitor speaker so I can sound like shit.
Honestly, WDFA TV, just plug in a capture card to the DASDEC.
Yeah, it makes it so much easier, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess thanks for listening to the ERN podcast. If you like what you're hearing, you can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can check out the website for the podcast. It's on my domain. It's erncrtv.com/podcast. You can listen to it there. You could submit suggestions for future episodes.
Yes, because we're running out of ideas.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. Actually allowing listener submissions, that'll be fun. I don't think so. There's always something going on, but we'd love to hear what you guys think. You could type in something that you want us to do. You could type in feedback. You can, yeah, I don't care what the hell you send us. As long as it's on topic, that's fine. But Anna is holding up a picture of a Sage EAS deck 3644.
It's $1,075
Oh, yeah.
plus $15 shipping. God, it's $1,100.
But yeah, so thanks for listening to the ERN podcast, and we will catch you guys next week.
Yeah.
See ya.
Bye bye.